You know, I say we live in a blind society when it comes to race and color, because the reality is that those issues aren't being pulled out and brought to the attention. Most of our prison system is filled with majority people of color. We have more people of color in the United States in prison than any other country in the world. That was shocking to me. I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was that bad. And then I learned that majority of the people in prison are actually in there for nonviolent crimes. And I thought back on myself and thought, well, damn, I wasn't a bad kid. I wasn't trying to commit any crimes. I was trying to find myself and find a community and find something I can be a part of. And because there wasn't enough resources out there for me, I found it where I could, and I had to be penalized for that. So I asked, why do we have a war on drugs to begin with? Like, why does a war on drugs exist? And once I learned more research about it, I learned that President Nixon was the one that actually announced the war on drugs, when there wasn't even a drug problem at the time. Then I learned that President Reagan was the one that made it start going and started issuing the policies and practices. And you know, that was one thing. And then I started reflecting on my own life and remembering times where I grew up with friends and family members, close people to me, that were actually victims of the crack epidemic in the 80s. I saw how I grew up with close people to me and saw them literally like deteriorate and fade away off of crack. And I didn't understand why. Why is it that these people are being incarcerated and thrown in prison? Why they're not giving alternatives or programs to help them over their addiction? Why aren't they giving them more job opportunities or housing opportunities or just trainings and job skills to be able to overcome these issues? Ultimately, like, the war on drugs has done nothing but like destroy families. Almost destroyed my life, but I didn't let it. So after a couple of years of going through the juvenile justice system, from the age of 14 to 18, mind you, I say a few years, I never caught no new charges. You guys might think this is funny, but I kept on violating probation because I kept on smoking weed, right? And they were like, why the hell you keep on? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not committing any crime. I'm not robbing nobody or nothing, but I never actually committed any crime. I got violated for smoking cannabis. Right? And it didn't make any sense, man. It didn't make any sense. We spending more money, and another thing that I learned is that we're spending more money to incarcerate people, mainly youth, when we could be sending these kids to college for way less. Like, all that money you spending to keep this kid in a cot, to send him upstate, to make sure he eat 3 meals a day, you could be putting him through college with all that. All these people that we're sending in prison because they're not being productive citizens, why don't you help them be a productive citizen? And I got to the point where I didn't want to complain anymore. I got to the point where I was tired of sitting here feeling like a victim. And you know, I always was told, if you want to complain about something, you better do something about it or just shut your mouth. So I learned to do something about it because I didn't want to shut my mouth. And I started getting involved in community organizing at the age of 18. And it became the pathway for me to be able to uplift my people, educate my people, and be able to empower my people to make change and to change the laws and policies that exist. Now that I'm a community organizer, I've been organizing for over 8 years now, actually. And I feel very grateful and privileged to be in a position where I'm at. I work with mainly youth in low-income communities. I work with youth that are referred to in alternative to incarceration programs, where they pretty much committed a crime and the judge is like, all right, I ain't gonna send you to jail if you go to this program, pretty much, right? So I work with these youth, and you'd be surprised how little they know about their rights. I actually am not very surprised, but it's unfortunate how much they don't know about their rights. And it's unfortunate how much they don't know about advocacy and about being able to change the laws and policies collectively together. So my goal and what I've been doing for the past few years, and more so within the past 3 years, working alongside Drug Policy Alliance and other organizations and allies, is educating youth and communities of color on how to work collectively to change the power dynamic. To educate them and let them know that these politicians can be reached just the same way you get reached every single day. And give them the opportunity to meet face to face with elected officials who actually are passing laws that affect their lives, and giving them the opportunity to speak out publicly, become public leaders, and change the public perception of the war on drugs and the criminalization of young people of color. So I probably could go a whole lot longer, but I realize I'm short on time. So thank you all, and I'll be happy to take any questions.